Hello. Bill, I'm going to make you a co-host momentarily until Lisa can get in here from the other session. Otherwise, as soon as I leave from starting it, it'll shut everybody down. So,
Fine. I'm just checking can y'all hear me okay? Just checking audio video. Plus, I want to say, hey, Bill Estes, how have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, we can hear you well, David.
I'm good, David. I'm good.
The usual suspects are here.
Yeah. We're the group that should have the missing teeth, the hair's gone, all of you name it, you know. But this is an awesome group. We get our nerves rattled at times, but we pull it together. That's the beauty of it. Is it sunny everywhere today, all over Tennessee? I know in the West it is. Good. Not sure who all's East Tennessee and Middle, but we do have a beautiful sunshiny day. Can't wait to get out in it. Is Lisa here yet? Let's see her. Hey, David, you're still in here. Do you have a contact for Lisa? I just want to make sure she knows this is her session. Oh, there she is. She's in here.
There you
Lisa.
go. Fun.
Yeah. I just saw her pop in.
Hi,
Hello there.
great to see everybody.
It's good to see you too. No, there you are. There you are. I was looking for your picture, but I couldn't find it. But you just popped right on in.
I will not hide from the screen. I will be present.
Thanks, Lisa. It's good to see you today.
You too.
Mhm.
So I think we've still got a few minutes. So,
Yeah, we do about 3 more minutes.
okay.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any technical difficulties or anything like that.
So
So
every day.
I know that's right. Oh, that's for sure.
Is it sunny and gorgeous where everybody else is? Okay.
That's what I was just asking a few minutes ago, because it's beautiful in West Tennessee. What about where you are?
It's gorgeous. We'll take it.
Is Tennessee Tech considered middle?
Yes, middle,
Okay.
Upper Cumberland.
Yeah,
We're a smidge east of middle.
right. I have a nephew that lives there. He's TBI. And
Oh,
yeah, he doesn't live far from the university. So I've been there. I just have never thought about which division or region it's affiliated with because of the
yep,
location. So
yep.
yeah,
Officially middle, but
gotcha. Gotcha.
okay, David, what's happening to McKay's in your world?
We're good with McKay's. Why? You guys closing? I mean,
Your
yeah.
McKay's is closing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that memo. Bill White, I'm the last to know. All right. Maybe that's why they didn't want my old CDs. I will investigate this and I will return to this group in
I read that someone already bought the property.
Oh, that's some sweetheart property, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Well, good for McKay, I guess.
It's too hard to get in and out at that location, though. I don't like the location.
It is hard to get in and out there.
So maybe they're just moving locations and not
No.
shutting down. No, they're shutting down.
Yeah.
Oh.
Said they're going to distribute their remaining books to their other McKay stores across the state.
Well,
It's been
one
a-
less reason to go to Knoxville.
Thank you, Lisa.
And
You always have an open invitation, you know.
I will come for Tomato Head and skip the bookstore.
Oh, good.
Okay, folks, it looks like it's 11:10. Sharon, do you want to kick us off before I dive in?
Well, I don't have anything to say except to thank you for leading this session today. You have been a wonderful dean and colleague for so many, and I thought, you'd be an outstanding person to lead this session. So thank you very much, and without further ado, I'll give you the mic.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Zagumny. I'm the dean at Tennessee Tech. If I don't know you, and if I do know you, it's great to see you again. Sharon had asked that I lead this meeting with the intention of sharing out information from a meeting on February 6th. And some of you may have been on that meeting. It was organized by THEC, Julie Roberts, and so it was THEC and the Department of Ed, and then whatever EPPs could join. And I think it was really an information gathering session for THEC, and they wanted to know our thoughts on, how do we move educator preparation forward, because there's a lot of conversation happening, and we don't know how much reality is based in some of that conversation. So, for example, Speaker Sexton had said in a meeting somewhere that he wants to push ed prep to a 2-year program. And of course, that startled everybody, because who wants a 20-year-old teaching a class, a high school class, and just the whole idea of quality preparation. So a lot of the folks on that call had spoken with their representatives, and we had talked with our representatives who said, quote unquote, Sexton just likes to lob grenades in a room to see what happens. So we don't know if that's what that is or not. Since he shared that out in that meeting, it got a little bit of press, but not much. And it seems to have, the conversation seems to have stopped. So we're in limbo in terms of knowing if there's any teeth in that or not. But the conversation really revolved around trying to be responsive, right? We're hearing what people are saying, but we're trying to figure out what problem they're trying to solve. So if we're hearing from THEC that there's interest in 3-year degrees, and of course, folks think, colleges of education should jump right on that. They can figure out a way to make their degree 3 years. which we're not unwilling to look into that. But I know at our school, we dug in and just have this really long list of obstacles that we would need people's help with in order to overcome and in order to offer a 3-year degree. That's bigger than just us, right? That would mean gen ed. That would mean licensure requirements. That would mean us revisiting some of our curriculum. So this idea of a 3-year degree is interesting, but it's bigger than us. And then what about some version of an accelerated degree? So if we keep 120 hours, is there some way to accelerate that 120 hours, like split your semesters and have more classes offered during one semester? Theoretically might sound good, but are candidates even capable of doing that? If you double up in a semester, I mean, and our faculty. There's some conversation about degree versus non-degree programs. So is there a way we can do this, job embedded without even offering a degree? You just go and get your credential. So just a lot of conversation around what would that even look like for us? Where would we even begin? Because I think for most of us, we're not going to give up all of our curriculum, right? We need to prepare our candidates. So the conversation would really start with gen ed and where are our institutions in terms of the number of gen ed hours they currently require versus what does SAC COC require versus how do you decide what to cut? So there was a lot of conversation around that. Somebody had brought up some conversations that had happened at AACTE and concerns over that they wanted to have at AACTE and concerns over this perception about education not being a profession. And if we continue to go down that pathway, what's the impact on student loans if we move and shift to something that doesn't fall under that professional umbrella? Would there be an impact on student loans, or does that even matter? UT Southern, do we have anybody from UT Southern on here?
Yeah, Lisa.
Okay, so you all have submitted a letter of intent to do online programming via competency-based modules. That was shared out, as one opportunity pathway for folks to think about, hey, Michael. So that was just mentioned. My favorite question from that entire conversation was from somebody at TSU who said, has anybody talked to the prospective candidates about this? What do they want? Because and y'all know this, we hear people say, oh, we want online programs because it's greater flexibility. And then they get into an online program. They're like, ooh, I need more people than an online program. So have we even is there even an appetite for this accelerated degree, a 3-year degree, an alternate pathway in addition to all of those that we already have? So that was my favorite. Some folks mentioned a 3+1, doing a bachelor's degree in 3 years and then 1 year for an MAT. Again, that's an accelerated pathway. So we'd have to figure out, okay, what do we condense into 3 years from 4? And I'm sure you all have as many folks as we do coming in with so many credits already earned. Ours are on average 16 credit hours that they're coming in with, but we have as many kids with as many as up to 60, but they're not all the same, right? So how do you start to build a program of study around students who are coming in with lots of credit hours already? And is that even getting at the population we're trying to reach? Because a lot of the conversations revolve around either people who don't have a bachelor's degree or folks who do have a bachelor's degree, some, second career folks. So it all boiled down to what problem are we trying to solve? And we're listening to our representatives who are listening maybe to their constituents. So vacancy data, and we know we've looked at the vacancy data that's out. It tends to be pretty geographically specific. We don't have a vacancy issue up here in the Upper Cumberland, but I know Memphis has vacancy issues. And I think what it boils down to for everybody is this lower cost. There's that conversation at the federal level about the value of higher education, the value of a post-secondary credential degree, and the cost that's involved. So is it worth it? I mean, we're all in higher ed. Obviously, we like education. So I think we think there's a value, but how do we communicate that and how do we ensure that our programs maintain that quality? One of the things that we ask for, and it's just, I don't know how anybody could, well, it's beyond me, but we would like to see data and reports on what's happening in these various pathways, right? We already have all of these existing pathways. It would be nice to look at that and say, oh, okay, well, we're seeing great success in this pathway, but we're seeing some obstacles in this pathway. So in order to really unpack that and see where we have the most bang for our buck, and then some questions around ownership of data, right? And who owns that? How can we share it out? All of those good things. If we are moving, and there was some conversation this morning already, if we are moving towards more of a mentorship and induction model, we need support and help. Because that's different than what we've done in the past. And so we're going to need some help and some flexibility from the department and each other to figure out, okay, what does that really look like and how do we do that, right? Because we've always been on the other end and now we would be shifting. One of the other main topics of conversation is, I think we are vested in high quality educator preparation. We want to best serve Tennessee families. And we want to maintain what we've done over the past handful of years to increase NAEP scores to where they are right now. And this whole Southern surge, we do not want to backtrack on what we've done. Doesn't mean that we can't do things differently, but we don't want to lose the ground we've gained. So those were really, it's a lot of talking points, and it was a brief meeting, but those were the main talking points from that conversation. I would love to hear what you all think. Anybody that was in there, did I miss anything? What are you doing? How are you handling sort of this fuzzy place we're in at your institution? So please, let's have a great conversation.
One of the things that we're concerned about is just recruiting students to the profession. There's all kinds of articles out now on how our best and brightest are going other paths. So just grabbing and opening all kinds of doors for all kinds of people is not getting at the heart of recruiting students to the profession, students who will be stable in the profession, who will have longevity, who may go up to other positions in the profession, leadership and specialists. But how do we recruit students to the profession is our greatest concern.
I have a feeling we all share that because they are going in different directions. And I mean, just a recent example, I had a teacher candidate in a classroom last semester. And then when we were reviewing the feedback, she reported out how many different times her mentor teacher said what a horrible profession it is. You shouldn't go into teaching, choose a different pathway. And you all have been doing the same thing. We've been working with our directors and our principals to try and push out the message. Please don't tell our candidates that. Please don't, the teachers know the students in their schools who would make great teachers. So help us identify them, help us recruit them. So yeah, that's, and haven't we all been asking for a long time now? We want some, PSAs, the good old days, the star going across the TV screen, be a teacher, something to help us with that recruitment and shifting that dialogue, right? That discourse about educator preparation and being a teacher.
Lisa, you said something early on when you were talking about all of the discussion. And is my microphone working now? It wasn't working earlier today.
It is.
You said something about non-credit competency based. I believe UT is already doing that with UT Plays, right? Amelia can speak to that, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, we are. And I do think that that was something I heard in that meeting, is just that all of us collectively need to be doing a better job of telling the stories about what we're already doing. As some of this appears to be a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to a perception as opposed to the reality. So that is something we're, in conjunction with what Lisa was just talking about, we're trying to figure out how to best get the words out there that there are quick pathways for those that have transferable skills that still are high quality and high rigor, to ensure, CAPE sufficient, all the things, in addition to be kind of based on the false assumption that if we could just get people in faster, that would solve all the problems. I really do think that's a false assumption that we're making there.
Also, I do want to add that UT Plays, you have to have at least a bachelor's degree. And so when we start thinking about what Senator Sexton said about an associate's degree or the follow-up to 3-year, kind of undergraduate degree, the 90-hour undergraduate degree, who's that for? Who might be interested in that? I think, Lisa, you did well. I mean, that implication SACs and a whole bunch of stuff above my pay grade. But even at the bare minimum, who might be really interested in that? We're fortunate to still have some really good undergraduate numbers, but guess what? They also want a campus-based experience, and we lean into that a lot. Not saying there isn't a need for that, but you start thinking about a strict 90 credit, there goes our transfers from community college. This is, if you want to start changing majors into it, there's just a whole host of dominoes that fall behind it. And so now it becomes a very, you start from the beginning, and very little room to move out of. But I would say at the most minimum, who would be interested in this? There are folks that are interested in becoming teachers, and I echo that we need to tell our story better, because I think a lot of us have innovated and showing the various pathways to become a teacher through a lot of different ways we do that: post-bac, undergrad, transfer, the 2+2s across our nation. I mean, I think that is where we may need to lean in a bit better.
If we lessen that, that gets to the question of, is it still a profession?
Right.
If you can do it in an associate's degree, if you can do it from a private school without a teaching license, is it still a profession? I think maybe that's where we should put our focus, that it is a profession. It requires how many decisions cognitively a day. Is why your teacher tired at the end of the day. It is a highly rigorous profession, and it cannot be done on, correspondence by mail, to bring it an old metaphor. So those two ideas are connected.
I would like to add that I had a colleague recently go to Capitol Hill and got to speak with Mr. Sexton. And basically, she questioned him as to what his thoughts was behind this. And it was that, one, he didn't want us to be teaching the woke ideas that we have. And the other was that, you're retaking stuff you had in high school. So that was part of that. Do I truly think that is his belief? Because both of his parents were teachers in school. So I think, I think it's a personal opinion more than it is he doesn't know what he's talking about. How does that sound?
Well, I don't think any of us can take responsibility of what his parents thought.
Elementary school and high school chemistry.
Well, I'm saying if it included quote woke, propaganda, but I wish I had the time in terms of dealing with all the standards. We all got enough on our plate, just making sure day one readiness but dealing with the issues at hand, I think the profession, you can do a much better job in that perception. And there's also the technicalities of it, which at AACT, I wish we would have dealt with this issue long ago, before now, because right now they got to get it changing in iPads. And Lisa, it does impact ability to, what's the term, put the loans on hold, if you will. I mean, if that doesn't pass through, I know we're looking at least, about 80%. I think that's what Amelia told me last. 70-80% of our current grads are on some level of, loan.
What is, Lisa, you mentioned something about a 3+1 program. I understand the benefits of a 4+1, right? Because they get more education with a 4+1. What's the benefit of a 3+1? Because they could get teacher licensure in 4 years, period. So why incorporate a master's degree into that 4th year?
Yeah.
Do you know the rationale?
I don't, but my guess is, that you're accelerating the bachelor's degree, right? So you get a bachelor's degree in 3 years, and then you do the MAT in 1 year. So it's just a different way to speed up that pathway.
So, Kim,
I think you get paid for the graduate level also, which would encourage students. I'm going to make $4,000 more a year all the years I'm in the classroom or something, which you can add that up.
My limited understanding is most graduate programs do not accept a 90-hour bachelor's, or, you can't even call it a bachelor's. Therefore, if we were really encouraged to do this, I would hope that our own graduate school would admit our students, if you will. Just add to the layers of complexity, Kim. But, we're not going to be the only ones who shoulder, all the, all the work, I guess.
I think the other thing that is also not being said is that then it becomes a gen ed war, because it's like, who are we as a department to say which general education classes, many of which at several of the institutions are already facing enrollment crisis as well. But who are we to now say you can take this class versus that class? And you're basically, pitting faculty against each other. No, they should take this English class versus that English class. And, I was the one that asked the question, have we talked to our candidates about this? Because then they'll say, I need to do everything online because of my situation. They will go online. They'll say, well, I don't feel like I'm getting my needs met because I'm watching all these recordings. We just gave you a whole online program because of your situation. So now we got to put you back on campus. Okay, well, Nashville traffic, I can't get there until exactly 11:38 a.m. But I need the class to end at exactly 11:45 a.m. And I'm like, I didn't know we were doing Emerald City curriculums, but let me see what I can do. And so I guess my hope is that at some point, whether it's the legislature or as EPPs as a whole, that we just kind of level set what we want our pathways to be, what our offerings are, and just kind of help to, one, guide candidates to where they would find their best instructional home. But also, number two, to make sure that we are not undercutting ourselves in the work that we do. Lord have mercy, after I just got through surviving Kate, that we are not undercutting ourselves by pushing and fast tracking these programs. And whether they're a 20-year-old in a kindergarten classroom or a 20-year-old in a biology classroom, that we are not assuming that just because they have the content knowledge, that they have the lived life experience to take on the robust realities of being a teacher. And that does not just start when the school bell rings. I think we all know this. That is having the ability to deal with parents, to deal with societal different situations, whether you are woke or asleep or just praying to get through the rest of the day to pick up your kid. There's a lot that goes into this, and I do feel that oftentimes that is lost in the conversation and the narratives when a lot of the bills are being passed because it sounds convenient and it sounds easy.
Yep.
But we know that our classrooms and our communities are not easy. Don't let the sunny day fool you. One thing can go wrong, and it will definitely determine if you have the withedness to make it to the next day or the withedness to make it to the end of the year.
Most definitely. I don't think, well, part of our problem is everybody's been a student in a classroom, right? And good teachers make it look easy. So that's where folks' minds are, besides the whole woke thing. Our local director of schools, he and I met with the scoreboard last summer, and they're deep pockets, influential folks in Tennessee, and we shared what we were doing in Putnam County with a few initiatives, and all you can say all the words and they're going to hear what they want to hear. And basically at the end of the meeting, they wanted to go into schools and unpack a teacher's day. That's what they're hearing, is that the teachers are just so busy, and it's like you've placed all of those additional things on them, right? They're not just teaching their discipline, they're teaching these students who have lots of extra dynamics that they're bringing into the classroom, expectations, standards, all of that good stuff. So I think, yes, we need to tell our stories and we need to help people hear them. What else?
Well, I was also interested. I'm glad you talked to your K-12. I mean, I think, could be something where Tacti tries to gather these stories better and, try to be very targeted in addition to all of our individual work. As well as try to hear from our K-12 partners. I mean, are they interested in, a 2-year associate's degree teacher, or a 90 credit hour, teacher and those things. Just thinking about all this development will come also down to co-constructing, co-developing those partnerships. I mean, those curriculum and things as well.
And I think the districts, at least ours that we work closely with, they're in, and they'll acknowledge that they're in this weird place, right? They don't need the people that they did a few years ago, but they want people and they need people in the classroom. So they do job embedded pathways. And then in the same breath, they complain that the folks pursuing the job embedded pathway aren't sufficiently prepared to serve as a teacher in a classroom. So it's this, everybody's in this weird space of trying to figure out, okay, other than private school experience. Yeah. That bill. Amelia, what isn't on the table? Just that
The 2-year teacher licensure option. Yeah. I mean,
no.
I am just a little worried that we might be breathing a lot of life into this because there really hasn't been a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there.
No, I think just because that grenade got tossed and everybody was like, what? And so now we're trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? What is the appetite for this stuff? So no, I have not, nobody has mentioned anything about that being a proposed bill, other than that private school proposal that's out there.
Because our filing date is passed. So this, I mean, obviously it's going to come up next year. And I mean, or it, just because it's not on the docket this year doesn't mean it won't be in future years. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear about that because I haven't been following as well as I should.
Thank you, Mandy. Yes. I mean, we know. What else? What else is going on in your world? Who's recently been through CAPE? Okay.
We're due next week, our self-study. So
You
yeah.
will knock it out of the park. So
Our
congrats,
visit,
everybody.
our visit was in the fall.
Uh-huh.
I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
I'm a survivor, but I will say I think I got the best deal. I not only survived, but I got to go to New Orleans and hang out with Alicia and
Oh,
team.
that's awesome.
That was fun.
I was going to place this in the chat, but since Nicole, you said that, I'm number one, Lisa, and many of you on this call, I probably should just be quiet. Jennifer told me just to come sit and be quiet, but you know what? That didn't work, did it? I just wanted to say what a pleasure it is to work with you all in the accreditation process, whether it is a Cape State process or I'm looking at Bill, an AQUEP state process, and that was a great experience with Lee, or a TNCR review. It is so much work. I have such great admiration for the work that you all do within your organizations and what you lead and delegate. It's such a big undertaking. And I feel really lucky to get to sit in this seat to be able to interact and see just such high quality preparation across our state. At the end of the day, there can be stipulations, there can be recommendations, there can be feedback given, but everyone's working so hard and doing such good work. And so just thank you. And many of you on this screen are also reviewers and leads in this process. And so that serving as a peer reviewer and taking that on and really working for the benefit of your colleagues across the state is just admirable. And so just thank you. There's a lot to celebrate. I know several of our last reviews are going up today for approval by the state board. So just a good day across the board. So yeah. And Cape and Cedar was a great convening last week. Yes, Nicole, it was good to see you as always.
When is your next training for state?
Great. So it just closed. Actually the window is March 1st, technically. So it's this weekend. It's closing. But we always announce that through the EPP update. We partner with CAPE on those modules and merging those modules with CAPE modules. So at the end of that training, reviewers complete both CAPE training and the TNCR SAP review training. And then you can choose, if you choose not to go through and do the CAPE assignment homework, you don't have to serve as a CAPE reviewer. You can just serve on the TNCR SAP side. We typically offer that every other year. So I would expect that to come back up in 27. And I was just actually looking on the CAPE site yesterday. CAPE will have, I think, their training, not Tennessee related, but just the CAPE reviewer training typically opens up in the spring. So if you look at the CAPE website, there's a volunteer tab and they've got information on there for if you want to serve as a CAPE reviewer.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia.
Sure.
I have to give a shout out. Can you hear me? I have to give a shout out. We uploaded our SSR in January and we do our SAP review and it's uploaded in April. And Alicia has been a rock star meeting with us the last week and a half and just over the last few months supporting. So we're there in our visits in October. So Kim, I may call you. And Stacy's been very supportive. So just appreciate everybody's.
I just wished I could pour some energy down my throat. Oh, it's just I would like to sleep at some point. That's about it. Other than that, it's going well.
Yep. We got through CAPE just in time for our SAC COC review to happen. So that's what we're in the midst of. Yay.
Yeah. But won't they just kind of skim over your stuff if you've gotten through CAPE, or is it because you don't have the results yet?
No, oh, no. It's just the whole university accreditation. We have
Right.
that whole, this is our 10-year reaffirmation cycle. So,
I just remember the last time Sachs came to our university, we had just gone through CAPE and they said they only did minimal things with education. They said, we know CAPE is awesome and is rigorous. And so they kind of left us alone.
yeah, I think they'll leave education alone. They're more interested in the university level stuff. So, but some of us get to serve on that.
That's
you know,
right.
as
That's right.
team leads. Yay. Who's going somewhere fun for spring break?
Not me.
Not either.
I'm going to bed.
I'm going on a cruise.
Kim, you go on 50 cruises a year.
No, I went on 4 last year. I would like to go on 50.
In my world, that's 50. I'm glad you get to have fun though. Yeah, you deserve it. Okay, are there any other questions? David, did you want to close this session out or
I will defer to Lisa and thank her again for facilitating such a wonderful group.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
I think one large takeaway that I did here was we need to do a better job telling our story. And I think as we board reflects on this, try to come up with a nice process to do that. So if you get an email from us telling some good stories about your pathways and those things, as always, I know you'll be responsive, but
I think one other thing that's important too is that we share with each other what our pathways are because we refer students to other EPPs.
That's right.
I know we told yes, we do too.
Dave and I have talked about that. Sometimes he sends students to us and sometimes vice versa. So we're in each other's, we're next door neighbors over here. And so
And sometimes we say, be careful of this one. They've been popping around a little bit.
correct.
But really, I mean, we do. I mean, I
But
think
the goal is for our kids in Tennessee to have a good education. That's the goal. And I think we're all united on that.
Indeed. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Enjoy the rest of your TACT Friday. Good to see you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Lisa.